Welcome to the future of South Florida real estate. It is May 2026, and the definition of a smart home has undergone a violent transformation. In 2019, a smart home was a voice assistant that played music and light bulbs that changed color. In 2026, those are toys. Today, a smart home is a high performance financial asset. If you are upgrading your home to raise its value, you need to stop thinking about convenience and start thinking about resilience. In this 20 minutes deep dive, I am going to show you how to move your property from a C4 condition rating to a C1 or C2 smart tier rating, adding hundreds of thousands of dollars in perceived and appraised value. The shift we are seeing is from consumer electronics to smart infrastructure. We are talking about the bones of the house. Why? Because in 2026, insurance premiums in Florida and bank appraisal algorithms don't care if you can talk to your toaster. They care if your home can protect itself from a flood, manage its own energy grid, and lower its technical debt through predictive maintenance. Let's look at the UAD 2.0 Uniform Appraisal Dataset Standards. In 2026, appraisers are looking for systemic modernization. This means that a smart home is defined by its operational efficiency. We categorize smart upgrades into three tiers. Tier 1, energy and grid autonomy, the moneymakers. Tier 2, mitigation and hardening, the equity protectors. Tier 3, logic and logistics, the scarcity drivers. In this section, we focus on the smart electrical grid. The number one upgrade in 2026 is the smart electrical panel. Replacing a traditional 200 amp breaker box with an AI driven panel like the Schneider Pulse or Span isn't just an upgrade, it's a revaluation of your entire home's energy profile. Why does the bank value this? Because an AI managed panel allows for load shedding. It ensures that during a power outage or a peak rate event from FPL, your home automatically prioritizes the AC and refrigerator while cutting off non-essential circuits. This grid intelligence makes your home more liquid and lower risk. We are seeing these panels at a 3% to 5% premium in micro markets like Weston and Parkland because they solve the energy anxiety of the 2026 buyer. You have to understand the cognitive dissonance of today's buyer. They want the South Florida lifestyle, but they are terrified of the South Florida carry cost. When you show a buyer and an appraiser a home that manages its own duty cycles, a home that can run on a Powerwall 3 for 48 hours without human intervention, you have removed the risk barrier. We are moving away from pretty and moving toward proven. This section will break down the exact ROI on solar-ready integration, EV bidirectional charging, and why analog homes are being penalized by 8% in the current market valuation models. To truly understand the 2026 market, we have to perform an autopsy on the smart home of the last decade. In 2020, people thought that having a voice assistant in every room made their home more valuable. They were wrong. In fact, in May 2026, we are seeing gadget fatigue actually lower a home's appeal. Why? Because consumer electronics have a high obsolescence rate. If you installed smart switches in 2021, they are likely running on outdated protocols like old Zigbee or Z-Wave versions that don't talk to the new Matter 3.0 standard. To a buyer, this isn't an upgrade, it's technical debt. It's something they have to rip out and replace. The paradigm shift we are witnessing is the move from surface intelligence to structural intelligence. We are no longer talking about things you add to a house. We are talking about how the house is built. The 2026 buyer doesn't care if they can change the color of the living room lights from their phone. They care if the house is smart enough to detect a hairline fracture in a pipe before it ruins the hardwood floors. We are shifting from cool to crucial. Let's get into the forensics of valuation. The GSEs, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, have fully implemented the UAD 2.0 Uniform Appraisal Dataset as of last year. This is a massive shift. In the old days, an appraiser would just check a box for modernized. Now, the data is granular. In 2026, the valuation algorithm, AVM, looks for systemic integration. If your smart features are standalone gadgets, the algorithm gives them zero value. But if your features are integrated into the building management system, BMS, they trigger an adjustment in quality, Q rating, and condition, C rating. Specifically, we are looking at the asset hardening multiplier, a home that has an integrated smart grid, automated water mitigation, and AI-driven climate control is classified as a high-performance asset. This classification allows the appraiser to bypass local comparable sales that are analog and use superior comparables from across the county. The concept of the private power plant. In section 1, we talked about the brain, the smart panel. Now we talk about the fuel. In May 2026, the South Florida energy landscape has shifted. We are no longer customers of the grid. We are partners or competitors with the grid. The smartest renovation you can make today is transitioning your home into a decentralized private power plant. A buyer in 2026 is terrified of two things: rising utility rates and grid instability during hurricane season. When you install a smart energy system, you aren't just saving on the light bill. You are eliminating a massive fixed monthly carry cost. In real estate forensics, we look at the net operating income, NOI, of a property. If your home produces its own power, your NOI is higher than the neighbors. In a high interest rate environment, that extra $300 or $400 a month in savings is what allows a buyer to qualify for a higher mortgage. You are literally engineering purchasing power for your future buyer. Let's talk about the math of Solar 2.0. In 2026, panels are a commodity. What matters is the inverter intelligence. Old solar systems were passive. They just pushed power. New systems are active. We use AI-managed inverters that perform price arbitrage. The system knows when the FPL rates are highest and automatically switches the house to solar or battery during those hours. It sells excess power back to the grid only when the price is peaked. When we present this to an appraiser, we don't just show them the panels on the roof. If your system saves $3,000 a year and we apply a 5% capitalization rate, that is $60,000 of intrinsic value that is mathematically defensible. We don't guess, we calculate. In 2026, a battery like a Powerwall 3 or a Franklin WH is no longer just for when the lights go out. It is a financial asset. We are now participating in VPPs, virtual power plants. In South Florida, your smart battery can lease its spare capacity back to the utility company during peak demand. Your house is literally earning a dividend while you sleep. From a valuation perspective, this changes the home's classification from residential to revenue-generating infrastructure. An appraiser using the UAD 2.0 framework can now categorize the battery as a high-efficiency energy storage system, which carries a specific adjustment in the sales grid. It's no longer a luxury add-on. It's a systemic requirement for top-tier valuations in 2026. V2H integration. In May 2026, almost every new EV comes with bidirectional charging. Your car is a 60 kilowatt hour to 100 kilowatt hour mobile battery. The smart home of 2026 is wired to use the car as a house generator. During a storm, your Ford F-150 Lightning or your Tesla Model Y can power your entire home for 3 to 5 days. When we market your home, we highlight the bidirectional readiness. We show that the garage is already equipped with the DC to AC gateway. To a buyer, this replaces the need for a $15,000 whole home gas generator. You've just added $15,000 of ghost value to the property because the buyer realizes their car is their backup plan. This is how you win the condition battle in the appraisal report. We must discuss the HERS, Home Energy Rating System Index. In May 2026, a home's energy score is just as important as its walk score. We move away from vague promises of lower bills and move towards certified ratings. A standard new home is rated at 100 on the HERS index. For every 1 point decrease in the HERS score, we see a correlated 1% increase in asset value in the South Florida market. By integrating AI-managed energy storage and smart thermal envelopes, we are taking 20-year-old homes in neighborhoods like Tamarack or Pembroke Pines and bringing their HERS score from 130 down to 40 or 50. This isn't just an improvement, it's a systemic transformation. When we present the HERS certificate to the appraiser, we are giving them a standardized third-party verified metric that forces an upward adjustment in the quality of construction field. Water, the invisible equity killer. In the world of South Florida real estate forensics, we have a saying, fire destroys a home, but water destroys a portfolio. In May 2026, water damage claims are the #1 reason for insurance premium spikes in Broward and Miami-Dade. A single pipe burst while you are on vacation can lead to $50,000 in damage, months of mold remediation, and a permanent black mark on your property's CLU report. Section 3 is about the dry house protocol. We are moving away from passive plumbing to active mitigation. A smart home in 2026 doesn't just sit there while a leak happens, it has an immune response. To a buyer and an appraiser, a house with a dry house certification is a low-risk asset. This section is about how to turn that safety into cold, hard equity. Let's talk about the tech. In 2026, we no longer rely on simple puddle sensors that only alert you when the floor is already wet. That's reactive and it's too late. We are installing ultrasonic smart shutoff valves like the Moen Flow or Fin Plus. These devices use ultrasonic waves to measure water flow 240 times per second. They are so sensitive they can detect a pinhole leak, a drip so small it's behind a wall, months before it becomes a catastrophe. When we present this to an appraiser, we show them the systemic integrity log. This log proves that for the last 12 months, the home has had 0 micro leaks. This protects the C3 condition rating because it guarantees that the bones of the house are dry and free of subsurface mold. You are selling structural certainty. This is where the math gets aggressive. In 2026, most Florida insurance carriers offer a smart mitigation credit. By having an automated main shutoff valve and IoT moisture sensors in high-risk areas, laundry, water heater, kitchen, you can see your annual premium drop by 15% to 25%. If we save a buyer $1,200 a year on insurance and we apply our 2026 valuation formula, we have just added $24,000 in purchasing power to the home. The system pays for itself in 8 months, but the equity it creates is permanent. We include the insurance savings forecast in our forensic portfolio to show the buyer exactly how this house pays for its own protection. Water doesn't just come from the pipes. In Florida, it comes from the sky. In Section 3.4, we discuss integrated storm defense. In 2026, smart shutters are connected to the National Weather Service NWS API. When a hurricane warning is issued for your specific zip code, the house enters hardened mode. The shutters deploy, the smart vents seal to prevent attic pressurization, and the smart sump pumps go into high alert mode with battery backup. We market this as zero-touch resilience. For the luxury buyer who travels or the investor who lives out of state, this is the ultimate peace of mind. You are removing the logistical friction of owning a home in a storm zone. This operational ease is a scarcity driver that allows us to justify a higher price per square foot than analog homes that require manual labor to secure. To truly master Section 3, we must distinguish between point sensors and flow based analytics. In 2026, relying solely on small battery powered pucks under the sink is considered an outdated, passive strategy. These only trigger after the floor is wet. The high equity standard is non invasive flow analytics. Systems like Fin or Moen Flow now use pressure wave analysis. Every time a fixture in your house opens, a toilet flush, a shower, a dishwasher, it creates a unique pressure signature. The AI learns these signatures. If it detects a signature that doesn't match a known fixture, like a pipe weeping behind a wall, it flags it as a malignant flow. By identifying these silent killers before they cause structural rot, we preserve the C3 condition rating. In an appraisal, C3 means no deferred maintenance. One hidden leak can drop you to a C4, which can slash 5% to 7% off your total home value instantly. We use these diagnostics to prove to the bank that this home is structurally pristine. Welcome to Section 4. If you think a smart thermostat is enough to raise your home's value in 2026, you are still living in the past. An Ecobee or a Nest is just a remote control. To achieve a top-tier equity adjustment, we need to talk about the thermal nervous system. In May 2026, we are looking at variable speed communication. A truly smart HVAC system doesn't just turn on or off. It communicates with the house. It knows the humidity levels in every room, the solar gain coming through the west-facing windows, and even how many people are in the kitchen. We are shifting the focus from cooling the air to managing the envelope. When an appraiser walks in, they aren't just looking at the age of the condenser, they are looking for zoned logic. A home that can dynamically redirect airflow to only the occupied rooms is a home that operates with 30% more efficiency. That efficiency is a line item adjustment in the UAD 2.0 energy section. In 2026, health is wealth. One of the biggest trends in luxury South Florida real estate is wellness intelligence. We are installing integrated IAQ sensors that monitor CO2, VOCs, volatile organic compounds, and PM 2.5 particulate matter. But here is the smart part. The sensors are tied to the ERV, Energy Recovery Ventilator. If the IAQ sensor detects high CO2 levels while you're sleeping, it automatically brings in filtered, dehumidified fresh air from the outside. In a post-pandemic world, a home that breathes and purifies its own air is a premium asset. We include the air quality certification in our marketing. To a buyer with allergies or children, this is a non-negotiable feature that justifies a higher price point than an identical home with stale air. Let's talk about the math that appraisers love: maintenance forensics. An average HVAC in Florida lasts 10 to 12 years because it short cycles and works under extreme stress. A smart climate system in 2026 uses predictive duty cycle analytics. It knows that if it runs at 20% capacity for a longer period, it removes more humidity and puts less wear on the compressor. We provide the appraiser with the HVAC health report. We prove that even though the unit is 5 years old, its effective age is only 2 years because the IAQ logic has optimized its performance. We are literally fighting depreciation with data. By proving the unit has another 10 years of life, we avoid the age deduction that usually kills a deal in the final stages of the appraisal. Finally, we have to address the thermal envelope. A smart HVAC is useless if the house leaks cold air. In 2026, we use IoT thermal sensors in the attic and around window seals. If the attic temperature spikes or a window seal fails, the system sends an alert: thermal breach detected, west bedroom window. When we market your home, we call this the fortified envelope. We aren't just selling an AC, we are selling a house that is sealed like a laboratory. In South Florida's 95-degree summers, thermal security is the ultimate comfort. It makes the home feel solid and quiet during the walkthrough, creating a psychological sense of quality that buyers associate with high end construction. In May 2026, we are operating under the UAD 3.6 Uniform Appraisal Dataset Standards mandated earlier this year. This is a game changer. For the first time, appraisers have specific mandatory fields to document a home's energy infrastructure with granular detail. We no longer just check a box for central AC. We provide the appraiser with the SEER 2 efficiency rating and the variable speed inverter data. In the 2026 South Florida market, a high efficiency heat pump with a SEER 2 rating of 20 plus isn't just nice, it's a certified value adjustment. We are seeing appraisers grant quality of construction adjustments of 3% to 5% solely based on the presence of AI managed climate envelopes. We don't hope for a high valuation. We engineer it by feeding the appraiser the exact technical data the UAD 3.6 requires. Let's talk about the brain of the system, AI load shaping. In 2026, Florida power companies have moved heavily toward time of use, TOU pricing. Electricity at 4 p.m. costs 3 times more than at 10 a.m. Your smart climate system uses predictive pre-cooling. The AI looks at the 2026 weather satellites, predicts a 96-degree afternoon in Tamarack, and supercools the home's thermal mass at 9 a.m. using cheap or solar energy. By the time the expensive peak rates hit, your AC enters maintenance mode, drawing minimal power. When we market your home, we show the efficiency spread. We prove that while the neighbors are paying $400 a month in the summer, this home is locked in at $150. That $250 monthly saving, when capitalized at current 2026 interest rates, adds approximately $35,000 in mathematical value to the property.
From record and review to detect and prevent. In the old days of real estate, security meant having a camera that recorded someone stealing your package so you could watch the video later. In 2026, that is a failure. We are moving from record and review to detect and prevent. Modern AI security systems in South Florida now use edge processing analytics. This means the camera doesn't just see a human shape, it classifies behavior. It can distinguish between a neighbor walking their dog and a loitering event where a stranger is analyzing your door lock. By the time a threat reaches your porch, the house has already initiated active deterrence. Pulsing landscape lights, a localized audible warning, and a high-resolution facial capture sent to your phone. This perimeter hardening is a massive value add for luxury buyers who prioritize privacy above all else. In 2026, keys are obsolete. Physical keys are a security hole. They can be copied or lost. The high equity standard is now multimodal biometrics. We are installing palm vein scanners and 3D facial recognition with liveness detection to prevent photo spoofing. Why does this matter for your home's value? Logistical efficiency, no more lockouts or expensive locksmith calls. Audit trails. You have a digital ledger of exactly who entered the home and when. Short-term rental premium. If you ever rent the property, you manage access via encrypted digital tokens. An appraiser sees a home with integrated biometric access as a high-tech infrastructure Q2 rating. It signals that the home is managed with the same level of security as a modern corporate office, which justifies a higher quality adjustment in the appraisal report. South Florida is a hub for e-commerce, but porch piracy is at an all-time high in 2026. A home that doesn't solve this problem is a home with a utility defect.
We are implementing secure delivery logistics. This includes smart delivery bins or garage access via one-time AI tokens. When the FedEx driver arrives, the AI verifies their identity, opens the garage door exactly 12 inches to allow the package to be slid inside, and closes it instantly. This isn't just a gadget, it's asset protection. We market this as a zero-loss property. For a buyer who runs a business from home or buys high-value items, this logistics system is a major selling point that separates your listing from every other house on the block. As a real estate professional in 2026, I have to warn you, if your smart home isn't cyber secure, it's a liability. Section 5 includes the Digital Perimeter Protocol. We use VLAN segmentation to keep your security cameras on a separate network from your personal computers. This prevents a hacked smart light bulb from giving someone access to your bank accounts. When we sell a home, we provide a cyber audit certificate. This proves to the buyer that the home's digital bones are clean and secure. In an age where digital privacy is the ultimate luxury, this certificate is a powerful tool to close the deal with high net worth individuals.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. From the algorithmic redlining of Section 1 to the forensic evidence box of Section 4 and the legal appeal protocols of Section 5. I know it feels like a lot. I know it feels like you're preparing for a legal trial rather than a home sale. But here is the truth. In May 2026, information is the only currency that matters. The days of putting a for sale sign in the yard and hoping for the best are over. The bank is playing a game of math, and if you don't bring your own calculator, you've already lost. But now you have the formula. You know how to audit your infrastructure, how to engineer scarcity in your micro market, and how to speak the appraiser's language to protect every dollar of your home's value. You don't have to do this alone. At South Florida Home Finder, we don't just list properties, we act as your chief valuation officers. Everything we discussed today, the digital twin QR codes, the effective age math, the shadow comp investigations, is part of our standard operating procedure. My promise to you is simple. I will never let a lazy algorithm or an out-of-town appraiser dictate your family's financial future. We treat your equity as if it were our own. We spend the hours in the attic, we spend the days in the public records, and we spend the energy at the closing table so that you can move on to your next chapter with the full wealth you've earned. So, what is your next step? If you are planning to sell in the next 6 months, don't wait until the appraiser is at your door. Start your infrastructure audit today. Download the guide. I've prepared a 50-page forensic appraisal prep kit that includes all the spreadsheets and UAD checklists we talked about. The link is in the description below. Get a strategy session. If you want me to personally review your big 5 systems and build your evidence box, reach out to me directly. Let's look at your property through the lens of an auditor before we ever show it to a buyer. Send me a DM with the word value on Instagram or click the link below to schedule a 15-minute valuation defense call. No pressure, just data. South Florida is one of the most dynamic real estate markets in the world. It's a place of incredible growth and incredible opportunity. Don't let the bank's risk models tell you otherwise. You have the house, you have the data, and now you have the defense. We are South Florida Home Finder Team. Thank you for spending these minutes with us. It's been an honor to share this knowledge with you. Stay proactive, stay informed, and let's go win that appraisal war. I'll see you at the closing table. Goodbye for now.